him down. That's a full team kill.
He's looking for third. He's gonna get it.
Against Kinger now in a 1v2 once again. He finds one. He finds the second.
He's still alive. Can he go in?
Oh my goodness.
He's gonna go bar down and give Saints the lead again.
Hello, Saints Nation, and welcome to some St. Clair Rocket League in the NECC. My name is Jackson the Fry Brown, joined alongside Dan, Mr. Danner's banner. Today, we got the St. Clair Saints here going against a UTD. It's going to be a good game.
Yeah, absolutely. We're going to probably see lots of rockets flying, but it has absolutely nothing to do with soccer cars. Of course, Overwatch going to be on the book here for today. Starting off, of course, preseason action going to be taking place in just a few moments. Of course, NEC's starting the season opener will be happening in 2 weeks' time, and from what I understand, it's going to be some relatively big groups, and we're getting to basically have some practice games up against two really strong opponents.
Yeah, so this is going to be the preseason here, and so these games might not really affect, playoff positioning or something in that determination, but it does get a lot of practice and scrims in for these players here to actually, build their confidence going into the season, build that experience, and just kind of help them out going in. So with the NECC, these will be best of threes. However, all three maps will be getting played throughout these, regardless of the scoreline. So you will be seeing 6 maps today here, total for Overwatch, regardless of the score lines. And starting us off, like you were just saying, it's going to be 2 difficult teams here. I was just talking to some of the players, and they're saying that, a lot of these teams actually are pretty strong here right now, especially these first 2 they're playing against, and it's going to be a challenge to get through these ones tonight.
Absolutely, and something that sounded relatively interesting here going for at least UTD, one of their main tanks, Louis, was apparently actually one of G-Scale's teammates way back when they were playing Tier 2, amateur road to pro kind of stuff. So that's actually really interesting.
Yeah, it's definitely interesting, and it's definitely going to maybe have a little bit of factor in tonight's game. I feel like you want to see a little bit from G-Skills and Louis especially. I feel like they're going to try to bring their A game, just show their old teammates kind of what they've been up to the past few months or whatnot, and kind of just, you want to show your old teammates what you've been doing, that you've improved, right? So
yeah, I imagine there being a bunch of playful banter and such kind of happening between the 2 players here today.
Yeah, exactly. So we are going to be looking for both teams to be bringing their A game here. Both teams know that there is, those stronger players from each team. There is a strong roster going ahead of them, and that we should be in for a really good series here for both series actually tonight. So going to be very, very excited to hop into these ones. And I believe we are not going to be playing any 2CP with that being best of 3s. I think we were talking about.
I want to say yes, but I've been surprised before. So we'll see when we get there. I know time and time again, especially with Overwatch, I try to make map predictions for modes, and then it instantly gets flipped around, just mixing some leagues up. So we're going to just kind of go with the flow here in regards to the map mode, I guess, select in between games here. All I know is that loser picks, but I believe game 1 is predetermined, and I did see Lijiang Towers as map number 1. I'm getting the nod from the back, so should be a relatively familiar map here for Saints.
Yeah, I feel like we're going to see a lot of those maps that are going to be very, very familiar here. We're going to see a lot of repeats from what we've seen from them, all last semester and coming into this one. The maps that they're experienced on, and the maps that they got to practice on, so that's what they're going to try to come through in and use that chemistry all to their advantage here right now. So we'll see what they can do. With that being said, though, we should be hopping into this one in just a few minutes. But in the meantime, do you have any predictions here in this best of 3?
UTD, this is in the past, we have had the opportunity to play them, maybe not necessarily with the exact same roster, but they were always a team that kind of gave us the run for our money. And I am going to say in this best of 3 series that is going to be, I still technically have to say all 3 maps, but 2-1, but actually in the favor of UTD.
Yeah, I'm going to have to agree with you on that one. Usually I'd like to make an opposite prediction there to, try to just create some conflict. But no, it is going to be most likely my prediction as well. 2-1 here for the side of UTD. By the sounds of it, they're looking like a really strong roster. They've made some good changes. Like you said, they've been always one of those teams that gave us a run for our money in the past. And with just a few tweaks, it might have made their roster, just pushing over the top a little bit strong there. So we will see what they do actually provide here for us as we do get ready for game 1. But St. Clair, they've made some roster changes too, over the past year or so. We've had Arjun come in, G-Scales come in, Ubel's now in, so there's a lot of new faces here, and there's a lot to break down.
Yeah, even amongst like the roster themselves, there's been like role changes. When we first had the roster in the last semester, like G-Scales was the off-tank, Cheesy was a DPS, and we had like a different support line at one point or another. But now, like we saw in the NECC matchups on the last stream, we now have Cheesy moved up into the off-tank role. G-Scales was playing like flank DPS, which is completely different from what we're used to seeing. So going to be interesting nonetheless here. But let's introduce our UT Dallas opponents. That's going to be Louis Jukebox. I remember that name. We have Pedal, Cashier, Non-Type, as well as Artsy Fartsy.
Artsy Fartsy is going to be a good one to call out tonight. So UTD going to be looking strong here. We should see all of these hero selects coming through right here, right now, and there they are. They are coming through, and let's break this one down here a little bit. We do have Ubel looking to play the Genji, I believe. That's a very typical player for him. And then Apostle going to be on that Reinhardt up there, so he's going to be trying to get some good shatters through and trying to, play a lot of that tank role. With that being said as well, though, we do have Louis coming through, that old teammate from G-Scales, and that's someone I'm definitely going to be trying to keep an eye on here in this one, because you know what, Louis, he's one of those players that you definitely got to keep an eye on, especially when their previous teammates are playing each other. So here we are, getting things underway. The control point will be unlocking in the next 20 seconds or so. UT Dallas, St. Clair College, getting started.
And of course, we're going to start things off with a big old skirmish right up on the stairwell. Absolute cluster, and Cashier just absolutely clutching things up there, making that Junkrat work, and it's just such a strong AoE scenario. It's just too hard to deal with, and the Saints just absolutely melt.
Yes, for sure, indeed. That is going to be the control point unlocking here now, nice and early on. UT Dallas will start off with a full team wipe, however, so now it's going to be up to the Saints to try to make this team push and enter in here to try to get started. St. Clair College over on this side of things is going to be getting a good little team push through, but the time is now ticking for the side of UT Dallas. But that is going to be the Saints currently on the capture. UT Dallas quick on the contest, and that is going to be a couple kills coming through for UT Dallas. The Saints are going to be forced to fall off and try to regroup as a team.
Yeah, just absolutely rough here, and we're going to see a bunch of ultimates coming up here for UTD in just a moment's time. The only one really around the corner for the Saints is going to be our Junk and Apostle, which granted, that can still do tons of damage given the composition the St. Clair Saints are running, but you have to find the opportunity to even get in there, and right now, just absolutely not going to be the case here. Cashier once again making that work from Ubel, hanging on by a thread off the side, but they know he's there, they're hunting him down, and they're just getting stuck at spawn.
Yeah, I haven't really seen players get, so forced back in spawn in quite a bit of time for Lijiang Towers. And now, a quick question for you, Dan. Is there like a determination on where the control point gets set first? Because I know last time we were on Lijiang Towers, this was the second point.
That is very, very true, actually, now that you mention it. But I do believe it is random, but I could be completely wrong about that. But yeah, normally that is completely correct. It's a different portion of Lijiang that we would end up seeing first, but not the case this time by Arjuk. Trying to get the Saints in here. Cheesy, there we go. Going to be finding himself a couple frags as well. Can he take the Lucio down there? Non-type just hanging on by a thread, skating his way back away. Does have the beat drop, so it is going to keep the remaining members of UTD surviving on the point, which means even though that looked like a good fight for St. Clair, they're not going to be able to capture this.
Yeah, Cheesy did a good job of trying to find some sort of an entry frag there, but was not able to follow it up with any more. And with that being said, UT Dallas is still just racking up this score. It's going to be about 90% to 0 here now. St. Clair almost has like kind of a one last team effort here to go through and try to clean this one up in the overtime phase of things, but UT Dallas immediately pushing them right back into spawn. They want to end this one right here, right now.
Yeah, they're firing their ultimates out as well there. Jukebox there on the flux is just going to keep everybody held down. And absolute domination shown here from UTD. Just get the point instantly and then just basically held them like a quarter way up the map. Nothing they could do.
Yeah, absolutely unreal stuff coming through there from the side of UTD, getting just so dominant. And, we typically see Saints pulling off the spawn traps, and they kind of got a little bit of a taste of their own medicine here now, as last week, literally a few days ago, we saw Saints pulling off phenomenal spawn traps, right? So getting a taste of their own medicine for sure here. Now they're going to try to turn things around, though, and tie this one up and force a round number 3, but it's going to be UTD with a little bit of an advantage right now.
No, absolutely. And looking this time by, we're going to see G-Skill switch on over to the Doomfist, something with a little bit of extra mobility to go attack this next point here. Available this time. Going to be picking up this Metro for maybe just a quick second, just to get this teleport down, get a little bit of extra boost going on forward. then looks like for the side UT Dallas, they're going to be the second ones onto the point, but they do have a relatively beefy, relatively speedy group here to try and maybe answer some of the Saints here. But a nice little dive from Cheesy. Almost got Petal, but actually it's going to get turned and burned right on Cheesy. Going to be demeched.
Yeah, Petal doing a good job hitting a lot of these crossbow shots and just really inflicting a lot of damage into the inside attack here of the Saints, but looks so far so good here for them. They are going to be contested though, and all the kills going in favor of UTD. This might have just been switcheroo, as it is now UTD on the point. It is a sleep coming through here from the side of the Saints, but other than that, I mean, they're not able to gain a whole lot here now. Arjunk gonna fall to Petal, and the Saints are gonna have to, retake the site once again.
Yeah, this is brutal. Once again, just such a very aggressive position to hold. Granted, the Saints, if they had somebody to maybe take a dive and onto the point, maybe start to try and turn the point so the rest of the Saints can escape, that'd be kind of fantastic. But between this Dragon Strike coming out here from Petal and the rest of UT Dallas, the Saints just cannot move for the life of them.
Yeah, the High Noon gonna come through there and really just hurt Saints and forces them out of position, which in result will allow UTD to come through and find that cleanup. And now the Saints once again trying to regroup and find another push. But look at Cashier up here. Sneaky deaky Tracer is just gonna be hiding alone up here. Bailable will find a few pop shots and get some damage onto her. But with that being said, I mean, Saints are still stuck fairly into their spawn.
I mean, yeah, they have plenty of high ground to work with here, but we just also see Louis here. An absolute menace is going to get turned and burned there. Yubel actually going to finish the job there. But that's going to be the Graviton just absolutely gobbling up everybody. The classic Big Bang combo going to be coming out here from Cashier to bring that Pulse Bomb into the mix. Nowhere for the Saints to go. Sent all the way back packing.
Yeah, and Cashier's even just forcing Arjun way back into spawn there and finding him last minute. So just all this work from UTD is just really pushing the Saints back and trying to allow them to do whatever they can. But as of right now, it doesn't look like there's a whole lot St. Clair can do. They just got to, kind of start it off with 1 or 2 picks, try to weaken the side of UTD a little bit and try to follow it up with a team fight win. But it's not as easy as that, right? So now they're trying to, take a different approach here, go up through the stair side, go through the right side of the map. But even then, Jukebox is just inflicting so much damage from behind and cutting off the spawn, splitting these players.
Now Louis again is going to dive on in and fire off the landmine, so I'm going to make it even more troublesome here for St. Clair to move around. Yubel hanging on by a thread, but again Louis once again diving through, helping with the finishing blows here on some of these players as the DPS on the side of UTD just cleans up. A last-ditch effort for overtime happening here, but it was G-Scales who does end up going down and shut down. Saints could not move that round in an impressive showing from UT Dallas.
Yeah, and to finish off that map, just as you were saying, G-Skills does go down, and actually to his former teammate Louis there in that one. So nice little way to end off map number 1. Louis is probably like, hey, looking pretty good for the side of UTD so far. So it is going to be the Saints here trying to turn this one around here in map number 2. But what are we going to say, right? UTD Dallas played that one perfectly.
Yeah, Petal really showed up to play here in this second point on this Hanzo especially. Just on the initial breach for it, just got so many snipes there as we saw there in the play of the game itself. So just wonderfully done from him and the rest of this UT Dallas squad. It just kept Saints just pinched in at all times. You finally think you have the opportunity to break out. They were even on the point first for that second game, or for that second round rather, and it just got instantly answered. So the side of UT Dallas just looking absurdly strong right now.
Yeah, UT Dallas almost, I feel like, allowed St. Clair to maybe get that point, allow all those players to bunch up together so that UT Dallas can kind of just focus everything out and just kind of just send in that firing squad. But regardless, they will come through with the 2-0 victory there on map number 1. We will be heading into map number 2 here in just a few seconds. But regardless of the outcome of the map number 2, I just want to remind once again that we will be seeing a map 3 regardless of the map 2 outcome.
Yeah, absolutely. And now, just in a second, get ready to go into Game 2, of course. Could not quite see what the map is as of this moment, but whether it be hybrid or escort, it should be scary. It is going to be hybrid. So, okay. So this allows you to have your King's Row sort of things, or your or I'm trying to remember off the top of the head. It's usually King's Row, for say the least.
Saints Row for a reason, right? So, yeah, we're probably going to be seeing the King's Row come through. It's named Saints Row for a reason. It's something they do really like to pick coming through, and Saints do get the pick, right? They did drop that map number 1, so they will have a choice going into map number 2 on kind of what they want to do with it. So we will see what they can pull off. Regardless, though, it's going to be a little bit difficult after just watching that game right now. You could already know the St. Clair morale probably not the greatest after losing in a matter of such dominance. They're going to try to really come back in this one, but as of right now, it doesn't look too good for the Saints.
I mean, That is very true, but I also think they knew what they were kind of getting
Yeah,
into.
for
So,
sure.
like, one, preseason, so of course it still does mean a ton. This is like massive practice, but not only is this massive practice, it's practice versus a team that's extremely strong. So it does give you the opportunity if you want to kind of try out some new things. But Overwatch is in this really weird position now where there's next to no balance changes or anything like that. And not a lot of players seem to, I guess, really like that. I know, like, personally, I kind of like when a game gets into this position because any changes in the meta is because somebody thought of something awesome, like an awesome strategy.
Yeah.
And it's not just, we want this champ to be strong today, so we're going to balance it to sell skins, like, or make it really strong to sell some skins or anything along those lines. Not the case today. But for the second matchup in a row, we are going to see some Eichenwald here for game number 2, and we get to see some more available.
Literally was just about to say that. I was just waiting for you to finish your phrase there. I was waiting to see if Available was going to come through on the Pharah. I know if you're UTD right now, you might not have watched that VOD, but there's definitely something to keep in mind. But Petal will be switching a few heroes right now. There's actually some changes getting made overall. But it does look like we do have the side of the Saints locked in on their current setup. And I like this one, Dan. I like the Bearable Pharah play. They're going to try it again here. I don't think it's going to be able to maybe do what it did last time. But we're going to try something again here.
Yeah, I was pointing over to Petal there for a second because initially they had locked onto the Widowmaker, and the way you shut this composition down is with a competent sniper. And with how Petal was playing on that Hanzo, I feel like he could have definitely fit that role. I'm curious to see if he will switch off of the Sombra at some point here, because right now the Saints taking the one off at Jukebox relatively early after Cheesy finds a finishing blow there, so solid start to say the least. Able to at least keep them held, and yeah, it looks like we're falling back. Not switching to what I was expecting though, opting for the Tracer.
Yeah, and you know what? It already is looking like the Pharah is giving them a little bit of problems. They can't go over this initial way they want to because Bailable's just going to inflict so much team damage with this blast damage. Look, he's hitting 3 players with this damage here right now. It's so big with the Pharah on Bailable doing all that damage. However, we do see Petal coming in with 2, Cashier with 1, and this is going to make some problems here for the Saints as it is Bailable quickly falling shortly after. Cheesy going to have to make it out with his life, and Arjunk is all that remains. That's a 5-player kill streak for Cashier and a control point for the side of UT Dallas.
I mean, I guess one way to deal with it is just to straight up not deal with it at all and just burst everybody else down so that it just eventually turns into a 6-on-2. And it's a fantastic play there from UTD, just opting not to fixate the fire or anything like that at all. They just instantly dove Arjunk, instantly took the Ana like right off, forcing the switch over to the Baptiste actually here for Arjunk. But Ubel Available going to stick to their pharmacy combo. G-Scales is going to be so relied on here, having the stun there with that flashbang, but he really needs to find Petal and Cashier.
Yeah, that is going to be Cheesy, able to take down Louis. Jukebox going to trade out for Ubel, though, so a pretty even fight currently on the point. The payload is moving during all of this, though. That is something to keep in mind. If they can just take it right up to this bridge right away, that's not going to be too hot for the Saints. Bailable and G-Scales is going to do some work here, taking down Jukebox and demeching her, whatnot. And it is going to be Bailable still on the Pharah, trying to get that team damage. But, I mean, this payload is moving, and it's moving quick.
And they are playing this so smart, UT Dallas is like, okay, if Pharah's going to take to the skies, let's push through the building. You're going to not want to go there at all as the pharmacy combo. And, of course, especially now that Louis has that Primal Rage, and it actually pushed both Cheesy and Bailable off the ledge. Bailable can get himself back on here. This is going to be so much extra time to push this thing across the bridge, which is notorious for getting teams stuck.
Yeah, this is really notorious for getting teams stuck. We actually saw it just a couple days ago, teams getting stuck up here on the bridge. But it doesn't look like UT Dallas is going to be one of those teams. They already got the payload pretty much near the end side of the bridge, which is getting through the, a little bit more of the difficult part. And Petal finding that frag there will definitely help. But Bailable is quick to answer back. I mean, but with that being said, this payload is just so close. I think the Saints are definitely going to have a hard time trying to stop it, especially with 3 minutes and 45 seconds on the clock.
Yep, the positioning and the pathing here from UT Dallas is just too smart given the composition here for St. Clair. I mean, they are trying to make some switches here. Bailable tried to make the switch back over to the Tracer, actually, with Ubel going over to the Brigitte to try and deal with some of this extra close quarters combat. But by doing all of these switches, this means that you have no ult charge for anything. Meanwhile, UT Dallas, they had 4 at one point. They did just spend a little bit of it, but they still have the Dragon Blade alongside the sound barrier. So offensive and defensive ults available, regardless of the situation. UT Dallas looks fantastic.
Yeah, UT Dallas still moving this payload. They've got it almost a third of the way
There goes
here
Kashir.
into the last one. Oh my goodness, non-type gonna do a ton of damage there on these 4 players from the Saints. It is gonna be Artsy Fartsy finding one, Jukebox finding one, Battle finding one, Kashir and Petal finding a second. That is gonna be a full team wipe, only leaving Cheesy, and Cheesy down to 1 HP, demeched, and now will be cleaned up. This is gonna be a regroup coming through from the Saints, but that payload is gonna be like inches away by the time the Saints regroup.
I mean, the Saints had the right idea, and to be fair, they were able to deal with Kashir's Dragon Plague relatively well, but just still so much damage across the whole board as we see yet another attack here. Louis trying to lead the charge here alongside Apostle for the Saints, but with the switch over to the Mei, maybe able to slow them down a little bit, but it might be a little too late. We were literally right on the doorstep. Shatter from Apostle, a little bit of a panic shatter. Just tried to fire the ult off before he went down. Not going to find the value that he was looking for. It is all up to Bailable to try and stop this for the briefest of seconds. G-Skills does go down in the background. Saints just having such a hard time getting in here. Solid Diva Bomb. Going to be here for Jukebox. Nobody can contest this point. There's a shatter. There goes Apostle. Knocked right on his rear end. Nobody from Saints is going to be there, and this should go to the point. There it is. 3 cap.
Yeah, there it is indeed. That is going to be UTD just really, getting that 3 cap just as you were saying and wrapping things up. So it's going to put a lot of pressure on St. Clair here now. They've got to pretty much do exactly what UT Dallas just did in under the time that they did. So it's definitely something you got to keep in mind.
Yeah, absolutely. So now from the attacking side of things, I mean, that was a fantastic time that was set there from UT Dallas, but there have been faster, there have been better, but at the same time, still extremely, extremely solid. Now up to the Saints, and it's all, again, very similarly to what we were talking about during the matches earlier on in this week, but that first initial point is everything. Like, if you have, we've seen when the Saints opponents in the last week, or in the last game, they are down to like next to nothing. Yes, sure, they got the cap, but then they only had like 2 minutes to try and push it across that bridge. That was a struggle. But then Saints took care of that first point relatively quickly, and it made the bridge much more bearable, to say the least.
You need time for that bridge. You need
absolutely. You need
at
multiple
least
tries.
A few pushes. Yes, I completely agree with you on that one, and that's going to be one of the big things for the Saints to actually find this control point early on, just as you were saying. Let's see what the comp is looking like here for the side of UT Dallas here now on the defending type of Sage. It is going to actually be Kashir picking up that Pharah there and Bailable switching off it onto the Mei, I believe that is.
Yep.
So, yeah, I mean, a couple changes coming around, some pretty obvious ones, but I think that Kashir might actually give some problems here to St. Clair. Can St. Clair counter this? That's what I'm ready to see.
I mean, G-Skills does have the capacity here to try and, like, not necessarily a sniper, but I mean, the Deagle's pretty strong at getting like 1-2 tap kind of kills, but it's all up to G-Skills to try and find that. Nobody else, maybe Arjunk a little bit from the support side of things can do it, but if everybody's just getting shredded off the bat, it's going to make this very difficult. I know the Saints want to rush. The composition's definitely leaning itself towards that, but it was instantly answered with Artsy Fartsy going to finish the job there off of Apostle and send everybody from the Saints right back to the drawing board.
Yeah, right back to the drawing board is definitely where they just got sent. So you do see G-Skills up here in spawn. Bailable, almost ready to hop out. Cheesy to fall off the map, potentially. Okay, so Kashir going to take down that Bailable play. Now it's just another regroup has to come through. They're trying to come out with whatever they can, but it is just going to be UT Dallas just forcing them to stay back in the spawn.
And I mean, there's only the one doorway you can really work with here, so this is going to be rough. The Saints have to death ball it, but at the same time, obviously, UT Dallas is going to know exactly what that case is. I guess there's a little side door that I keep forgetting about over to the side, but still, not much room to really make the play. It is going to be Apostle leading the charge, but he's already down half health.
Yeah, Apostle down to half health is definitely going to cause some concern, so we're going to see what they can do about that. He is going to regen up a little bit here, and they're going to move on with their push. They have broken out of the spawn and are getting some damage up onto that Pharah flying in the sky. So a good little start here to actually break through and find some map control. But there's a lot of time that has already been ripped off the clock for yourself that you're going to really have to bounce back from. And I'd say this push has to be successful in the next like 1 or 2 tries, or else you're not going to be left with enough time to actually be able to pull off the 3 cap.
There's lots of utility here and lots of damage ready for UT Dallas as well. We have the Pulse Bomb as well as the Barrage here on the DPS lines of UT Dallas. And there's actually the Minefield going to just cut off that archway as well. And it is going to find some value. 2 members from St. Clair getting dropped. Granted, Louis does sack himself for that. That being said, though, Non-Type right there with the Resurrection. Good defense so far here from Nubel, actually pushing away Non-Type so that Louis did not get res until, actually, never mind, it did actually go through. So still a 6v5 for the side of UT Dallas.
UT Dallas is blowing my mind here, making some really big plays, and it is just going to be a bunch of players just trying to come off the map to regroup, right? That's the big thing for the Saints. Usually when you see these players falling off the map, it is typically because they do want to just, go back, regroup with the team, and try to reset. It's a bittersweet thing, right? You do lose your life. You do have to start right back from the start and, make all those entries again. But you do get back with your team and try to make that team effort push.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, the one thing that's kind of scary here, once again, for the Saints is that UT Dallas has been doing all of this defense without really using ultimates. Going to finally start using some right now. That is going to be the flux coming out here from Jukebox, but it is going to be answered here by Arjunk's Tranquility, or Transcendence, rather. That is going to be the barrage coming out, and it's going to instantly blow up Apostle, but Baleable is going to try and answer right back. But another kill here, coming out here from Petal to take care of Arjunk. So the support line is absolutely gimped here from the side of St. Clair. No healing available. They're going to have to go right back to the spawn, and they only have a minute left to try and get this.
Yeah, Louis been really good at knowing when to exit fights. That's one thing I've picked up on. Louis will get tagged down to that 60 HP and not keep over-challenging. He will fall off, get that heal up, and, carry on. I think that's one thing that's really been helping out UTD is that they've really just been keeping their lives very nicely, right? They're not getting overconfident. They know when to pull off the spawn trap, and they know when to allow St. Clair to get some control to not, get overconfident.
Absolutely. Apostle going to lead the charge now. G-Scales actually does get Cashier right out of the air, so if there's any push for them to actually get this point, it is going to be this one. Both DPS members on the side of UTD completely gone. They still have the Diva Bomb. They still have the Deadeye as well there on the side of St. Clair. Transcendence here coming out from Artsy Fartsy, going to keep the rest of the UT Dallas squad alive for just a little bit longer. But there it is, Deadeye going to take care of Jukebox. Louis stunned up, not going to be able to get out of this one alive. Ubel right there. Petal making the switch, but it is too little too late. The Saints are barely going to take care of this first one, but now they only have 2 minutes and 30 seconds to get to the second one.
Yeah, that's going to be the big problem here right now is that time. It's going to keep on ticking. Yes, the Saints do release that control point, which is great. But 2 minutes and 15 seconds to get this through the archway and across the bridge, not going to be an easy task by any means necessary. All it takes is one or two good stops from UT Dallas, and this one's over.
Yeah, and one thing that kind of messed up UT Dallas a little bit there, they made a couple of hero switches for their DPS side of things. Not so much about team composition, but more so just being able to run to the point and try to stop it right there on point one. So Cashier had to basically reset his ult charge here. Now picking up the Sombra, which is a little bit better here on this second point, considering the open areas and the big long sight lines and whatnot. But still wants to get close quarters, of course, and is going to find Arjunk exactly like that. Petal, however, going to make this Soldier 76 work for him here, even though maybe not necessarily the perfect pick in this situation, but will have Attack Visor in just a few moments.
Yeah, for sure. So here we are now. It is still going to be this 6-on-6 action, just waiting for our first pick to come through in these engagements. It is going to be Louis really cycling around all these players and just trying to do as much damage as he can, rolling around. And that is so big here, is that these players can just move so fast. And the ropes swing all around. Look at that. He's already over the wall and over on the other side. He can just immediately inflict more damage. It's going to make things very difficult on St. Clair. They've barely even made it out of the archway quite yet, and we're already down to a minute.
The Transcendence from Arjunk had to be used basically at their spawn, which is extremely interesting. Gonna get spawn capped, not necessarily on point one, but on point two it looks like. Cashier, non-type, doing a solid job. It's gonna be the Diva Bomb coming out here from Cheesy, but it's gonna get instantly blocked by the shield coming out there from Jukebox. Nobody on the side of UT Dallas will be threatened by that. Now this cart still just barely trying to get around the archway, but that castle's high ground is so hard to deal with.
Some nice shots coming through from G-Scales, just not enough to finish anyone. And it is going to be Arjunk able to take down Cashier, but other than that, all the trades are going in favor of the side of UT Dallas. Now under 30 seconds on the clock, with only 3 players up for St. Clair, what do you do at this situation, right? Do you regroup, try to get that one last overtime push? I mean, it's such a tough call, right?
I think UT Dallas has this in checkmate. If the Saints do group up, the EMP is ready for the ultimate. Just going to dive into the middle of them, make it so they can't use any abilities in the slightest and just shred them. They have this in checkpoint, in my opinion, as they do actually fire off the EMP. Does only get 2, though.
Yeah, they do clean up everybody around that point here right now, though, so there is only a couple players left. It is contested, so to be fair, St. Clair still holding on by the skin of their teeth here right now, but with that cleanup coming through, I believe that should do it. The overtime ticker will run through, and that is going to be UT Dallas taking a 2-0 lead here in our series. However, despite leading 2-0 in the best of 3, we will still see the third map for NECC seeding reasons.
Absolutely, yeah. They like to have that extra map count as a possible tiebreaker sort of scenario as well. So Jukebox going to find himself with the play of the game. Where does this come out? Gets a stun off of Ubel, any sort of ult usage or just constant shots? Ooh, a little bit of a bank shot there with the attack. Nicely done. A little bit of a double, triple actually, because it knocked Cheesy off the side. So very, very solid job there once again from UT Dallas. Granted, Saints were able to get themselves into position to get the 1 point, so it wasn't a complete shutout, but just absolutely solid defense.
Yeah, solid defense for sure here coming through from the side of UT Dallas. And I mean, even then, solid offense too.
Oh,
they came through and they just moved that payload. It was moving. The amount of time they had remaining on the clock too was unreal. 3.5 minutes going to come through there.
Yeah.
UT Dallas just once again with a dominant win. And that's something we were talking about going into this one. We knew the stride of UT Dallas was strong. We know the Bobcats in our second game are also going to be strong coming around at 7 p.m. So we're expecting a lot of high-level play here from both teams. So we really should see what's kind of going to happen. I'm excited to see here. The Saints, obviously, not going to be favored going into this third one as well. But I think the big thing is just trying to still pull off those plays. Try those new things, maybe. Learn from the other team, right? That's the thing. You got to take away whatever you can.
I mean, if there's ever any time in the season to do it, it is preseason, of course,
Yeah,
right?
for
Or
sure.
the first couple weeks or whatnot, even into the regular season sometimes you'll see a little bit of experimentation. But with the next map coming up here, Watch Point Gibraltar, this is going to be a little bit scary for the defending side. This map has one of the most notorious, defenders' disadvantages basically on point 1. If you get taken out off of this early point, you have to walk so far to try and get back into it. So even the slightest of individual picks could very well swing a fight, not just one fight, but maybe 1.5, 2 fights, just trying to run back. So I would not be surprised to see both teams on defense run something with a Mercy, because rather than run back, just have somebody who could res you.
Yeah, you need that res. We saw it come through a little bit there in our last one. Coming through, they resed Louis, I believe it was, right near the Saints spawn. So now we have another Mercy coming through, able to come through with those resurrections and keep the team alive, right? Because you were just talking about it takes so long to get back that the resurrection definitely going to be way more worth it to keep in mind here now. But we're moving on. It is going to be St. Clair College, UT Dallas in map number 3 of the NECC Preseason here. NECC preseason, sorry.
The preseason.
Preseason.
Can we coin that?
Honestly, what's a preseason? But here we go. Let's see this third one come through. It is going to be the hero select, about to get wrapped up here. 4 seconds or so until these players do kind of have a general idea of what they do want to be playing in this comp. And let's get a look at this. Okay. Apostle once again on the Reinhardt. You'd have Cheesy, I believe, on the Diva. So those are 2 of your typical tank players coming through and, providing all of that HP for the team. Got Jukebox once again on the Diva, and I believe that is Louis on the Winston.
That's correct, absolutely.
That's
So remember everything I was saying about taking a Mercy? Well, there's a reason why I'm on the caster's desk and not the actual gameplay, right?
Not one Mercy in sight.
I mean, if you don't die, you don't need a res, and I guess that's the strat right here now for UT Dallas. This composition for St. Clair makes sense. A little bit of long range, a little bit of brawliness as well, which, to be fair, they've been notoriously solid at a brawly kind of style. But between the sniper here, the Widowmaker from Petal, and then Cashier, just going to be constantly looking for soldier flanks. This is going to be scary for the Saints to try and breach as Ubel instantly getting taken down, but it's actually Artsy Fartsy there on the support on the Ana to take him down first.
Cheesy tries to go in and inflict a little bit of damage up there on the Raptors, but as soon as he enters, he immediately loses about 400 HP, and that's going to make it very quick for him to be like, okay, this is not the place to be, back up and try to regain, but Petal will take down G-Skills in the process, and, Cheesy will finally be able to get healed here, but what can you do with that? That is a good start.
Okay.
He will take down Petal. Cashier will be turning out Ubel once again. Ubel is one of those players that they need right now to help support the team, and to have him out early twice is not the start you're looking for.
Yeah, honestly, fantastic job there from Cheesy to instantly dive the Widowmaker there. Instantly dive Petal, got him off the board nice and quick. So now it does allow the Saints to have an opportunity to move forward. But again, if I focus one player, everybody else has the opportunity to kind of swing in here. And it's going to be Louis and the rest of the squad to just shred the Saints once again and send them right back to spawn.
That's exactly what they're looking to do here right now. It is going to be about 2 minutes and 50 seconds remaining on the clock. So they still do have a little bit of time here, right? Only 1:10 has been knocked off as of yet, but they're still really desperately trying to turn things around. This payload has not been moved very far at all, and it is going to be St. Clair just trying to find some sort of an opening pick, but not allowing it to come through as UT Dallas.
And that is just using Diva to perfection there. As soon as you see one of those bolt action kind of players, whether it be the sniper rifle from the Widowmaker or the Hanzo's bow and arrow, as soon as the one shot goes, you just charge in as a D.Va and take them down instantly. Seeing it there from both sides. But this is just such a hard position for the Saints to be in, especially there for G-Scales. You have the soldier constantly peppering you down, and then if you try to snipe the sniper, that arrow has a travel time. The Widowmaker shot does not. So it really relies on the Widowmaker to miss the shot for yours to actually hit, and that's such a rough spot to try and be in.
Yeah, I cannot agree more with you on that one there, right? I mean, and especially with a lot of these UT Dallas players, when we talk about, you know, the more sniper plays, the heavy-hitting characters that do a lot of damage, it's going to be UT Dallas expected to hit those shots, right? They're those experienced players that have great mechanics, and they've been very dominant all game long, so when they are playing those sniper heavy-hitting roles, they can definitely hit those shots.
Yeah, and I see the Saints trying to avoid the snipers at all costs here, but that left them wide open for Louis to pop the Primal Rage and just do massive AoE damage across all of the Saints. Just swaying the arms wildly and doing so much damage, but a little bit of wasn't back and forth for a second, but then it turned right back into C and blue here as UT Dallas continues to defend this cart solidly.
There's nothing I enjoy more than watching a Tracer try to fight a tank.
Yeah.
It is the funniest little cat and mouse chase that you can watch, right? But it is going to be only a minute remaining on the clock. St. Clair is getting a little bit of payload movement here right now, so that's exactly what they need. They've gotten it up to about 40 meters as of yet. It's not going to be a whole lot, but it's something, right? That's what you got to keep in mind right now. The Saints are going to be looking at this one as the glass half full. Jukebox will finally be demacked, but Arjunk going to be hunted down. Jukebox will fall, but wow. What a play.
Yeah, Arjunk still does end up going down after Louis takes care of him, but that was very, very close. Tried to chase him down, a little bit of cat and mouse game like you were saying, but does end up falling in the end. The Saints back in the spawn once again to try and keep this one alive. They don't have much time to really get this one done. Ultimate-wise, UT Dallas basically expended everything, and G-Scales with a massive pick. Cashier would have been the next one to actually have an ultimate, so that is going to be a juiced-up Apostle diving on in there on the Winston, nano-boosted, but is just going to shove everybody off, everybody retreating. Now Apostle, close quarters, big sleep dart, going to put him down. Can they get to the defense in time before Apostle gets back into the fight? So far, not too bad, but now has awoken from the sleep. Cheesy gets one, but Petals, whether it be a skirmish or not, still finding the shots necessary on that sniper. Finds another support line gone, no more heals, and the Saints are probably going to fall here on Watch by Gibraltar.
Yeah, I mean, this is not looking too hot. They are moving the payload in overtime right now, but they have to get to this next marker in overtime to allow some more time on the clock to be added for them. It's not going to be easy by any means. They got it to about 65 meters here right now, but with G-Scales down, and then a lot of these players getting tagged out, this should be it here. If Louis can just keep getting these ult kills
pushing them away.
I mean, that is going to be it. That is round one complete. The Saints are not able to get a marker. They do get 67 meters, but UT Dallas is pretty confident going into this one.
Okay, so you got under the archway and a little bit extra, which can sometimes be enough, but it really requires your defense to be absolutely fantastic here, because it just takes, like I was saying, one bad team fight and you have to walk so far back that it's not even funny. So Saints on the defense, what do they opt to try here? Do you go for something Pharah-based? There's a lot of open air, but at the same time, if there's open spaces, that does also allow for more sniper play. So that could be scary if they opt for something like that.
Do you think the Saints really... Okay, so I know the Saints have to make big plays to actually come through and win this game because the payload hasn't been moved crazy far. So do you think it's like all right to maybe risk not taking a Mercy if you're the Saints here, to just go for a little bit more of an offensive play style here to try to just, you know, punish your team back? I mean, that's something you definitely consider if you're the Saints.
Oh, absolutely, and I think they are kind of looking more towards that way, as it's going to be the Ana and the Brigitte opting for more of a brawly composition. So they're basically, you win your team fight or you're toast.
Yeah.
But one thing that could be a little bit odd here is, yes, this team is like strong in regards to diving, but if they hesitate in the slightest, Petal, for the first time here in this series, picking up the Bastion, which is just a massive sentry turret, basically. So you hesitate at all, Petal will melt you.
Yeah, Petal has a gun that can inflict a lot of damage per second there, so no hesitating at all. Dive in and do what you know best. But Kashir opens up with 2. Petal will find the 1 on the turret. Kashir gonna go for 3 early on, and that is not the start you are looking. The turret's gonna be up there, and Artsy Fartsy finds one. Kashir's on a 5-player kill streak to open this one up in only 25 seconds. That was mayhem.
That was an incredible push there from UT Dallas. Petal had the long-range DPS. Kashir on the Symmetra. That wasn't something I was necessarily thinking about, but yeah, now you have something to deal with shields and close range. Okay, beautifully done. And now, set up turrets. The Saints are going to be slowed on the way back to the site. This is going to be an absolute nightmare. The Saints are going to get here in time, but literally just barely. We see the cart right now. It's just under the archway. So another rough team fight, and that's toast.
Yeah, all it takes is 15 meters right now for this cart, and now already down to under 10. And now to get to under 5 meters is all this cart needs. So it's going to be UT Dallas moving a meter and a half. Literally, St. Clair is holding on by a thread for these next 3 minutes here, but it does look like the setup is looking good for the side of UT Dallas, and this contest shouldn't be lasting too much longer as all of these players are down from the Saints, and that will do it justice. UT Dallas will come away with a 3-0 victory over the St. Clair Saints, and this one, GG's all around. You do like to see that from both teams. And a good little learning experience and some good practice coming through for St. Clair.
Oh, absolutely. And the play of the game here is going to go to Louis. This is probably that primal rage in the close quarters. This is a perfect scenario to just dive it, just send it, and just do so much damage, just knocking everybody into the walls and getting swing after swing of damage. All the squishies on the side of St. Clair getting absolutely shredded, shutting down that push there. But still, just a fantastic showing once again here from UT Dallas. That being said, St. Clair, fantastic effort. We knew we were in for a tough one here today, to say the least, but that is A-okay, and that's not the last game that we have here for today.
Yeah, not the last one by any means necessary. We'll be going up against the Bobcats. I can't remember exactly what school they are. I just remember they're the Bobcats. Brian Stratton. Of course, I should be remembering that one. Brian Stratton, the Bobcats, going to come through here at 7 p.m., I believe that is here. 6:45,
yep.
sorry, yeah, against the Saints. And that is going to be another good one. I think it's going to be a little bit closer than this one in the UT Dallas. But the Saints are still in for a little bit of a run for their money. They're going to have to definitely bring in their A game if they do want to find one there. So regardless, we're going to see what they can do, but a 3-0 win from UT Dallas is not going to be the start the Saints are looking for.
No, absolutely. Yep, that was fantastic practice, but that's still, whether it's preseason, whether it's just a scrim or what, yeah, that's gonna sting a little bit. But that also makes for a fantastic VOD to go watch a little bit later, especially like some of these breakout plays that UT Dallas was doing to just have such a decisive attack on some of these points. It wasn't just the Watch Point Gibraltar, but we've seen it a few times on some of the other maps as well, that it seems like, okay, they might be held here for a bit, and then they just have an absolute dominating push, like a sick combo to just squeak right through it. And it's just interesting to see, and might need to take a little bit of inspiration, if you know what I'm saying.
Yeah, you're definitely got to take a look back at that VOD if you're the Saints. I feel like definitely in scrims going into this week. It's going to be something you're going to definitely review and take a look at. But regardless, we are going to get ready to hop into our second game here now. So bear with us. We are going to take a little bit of a break after this one. But before that, I do want to show some love here to our merchandise. Once again, I'm in my collared shirt today, so I'm not in my Saints walking billboard, but you are, Dan.
Absolutely.
You got the mask, you got the jacket, you got the hat, and we got plenty more on the Saints merch store. They are at acquire.ca/Saints. That's going to be t-shirts, jackets, jerseys, crew necks, sweaters, flags, masks, anything you can imagine. Saints merchandise will be at acquire.ca/Saints. If you're looking to support them, you can do so there. And with that being said as well, I would like to show some love to our newest sponsors here, starting off with Crunchyroll. They joined us at the beginning there of last semester, and it's been amazing ever since. They're essentially the Netflix of anime. Any anime show that you could want to watch will most likely be on Crunchyroll, and you guys can get a 14-day premium trial for free at crunchyroll.com/Saints. So if you're interested, once again, 14-day premium trial for free at crunchyroll.com/Saints. Thank you to our other sponsors as well, being the Tim Hortons, Subway, the Zekelman School of Business, St. Clair College, or the SRC, sorry, and the St. Clair College Alumni Association. Now, with that being said, we will be back with you guys, I believe, and I don't have a watch on, but
about 25 minutes.
About 25 minutes,
We'll
yes.
keep the stream on, though.
We'll keep the stream on, so, tab, go to the washroom, get a drink, do whatever you need to do, and we'll be back with you guys in about half an hour. Stay with us. My name is Jackson Pride Brown, joined alongside Dan, Mr. Danners, and we'll be right back.